Alif Lam Mim, only 3 letters. Islamic scholars have discussed them for centuries. Great awliya like Ibn Arabi said special secrets are hidden here. Between Asr and Maghrib, there is a hidden door, and the key is in Surah Al-Baqarah. Inside is Ayat al-Kursi, a verse that shakes heavens and earth. Inside is Aman al-Rasul, a gift from the Miraj. Surah Al-Baqarah is central to Islam, carrying codes of the Prophet's life in Medina. It is powerful against magic, the evil eye, and illness. When recited, devils leave the house. As evening fell over Medina, the Prophet sat with companions reciting newly revealed verses. His voice echoed, Alif Lam Mim. This was not ordinary sound. Arabic was their language. They understood every word. But these 3 letters were different. The Jewish scholars of Medina had taught for generations, their hands dark with ink. The Qur'an called them Abr, people who lived with ink. Now that unlettered prophet, who could not read or write, was speaking about letters. Alif Lam Mim, only 3 letters, but they shocked Medina's educated people. Who taught him? Some asked. We thought he was unlettered. He had received no education, yet now these letters came from his lips. Jewish scholars searched their old books for meaning, but found nothing. Those letters stood like a door. Even today, they remain encoded. The Prophet continued, that book, there is no doubt in it. It is guidance for the mindful. Allah was saying, you were curious about the letters. Now let me introduce the book. Notice, Allah said that book, not this book. Words of distance are not random. What you hear is near, but where it's written is far. In Law al-Mahfuz, unchangeable, carved into eternity. The listener realizes, this speech is not random. This message comes from somewhere. And we are only at the beginning. The Prophet had no physical book in hand. No one had seen him reading. He could not read. Yet words flowed from his lips as if reading from an invisible book. Even Medina's most educated had never spoken like this. Arabs were proud of their language, boasting of their greatest poets. They looked down on anyone who couldn't speak well. But the Quran said from the first step, the authority of this book is not in your hands. When it said, there is no doubt in this book, it meant, this book has power to remove doubt from the inside. Who are the Muddakin mentioned? In English, those who protect themselves, who are careful and mindful. A new tension is born. Am I one of the Muddakin? Will I receive something from this book? The Quran doesn't say those who are protecting themselves as temporary action. By saying Muddakin, it points to a timeless group. They existed in the past, exist now, and will exist in the future. This is a door of hope. The Quran in Medina doesn't speak only to Muslims. It also speaks to Jews and Christians because they are listening, understanding. Everyone who comes trying to save themselves from evil, Christian, Jew, agnostic, atheist, will find guidance. The door is open for all. Verse 3. Those who believe in the unseen, establish the prayer, and spend from what we have provided for them. Allah defined the first quality of people of taqwa, belief in the unseen. The word gaib represents a vast world beyond the 5 senses. Angels, the hereafter, secrets revealed through revelation, and the essence of Allah. If a person believes only in what they see, they're trapped inside biological limits. The one who believes in the unseen realizes the visible universe is only a thin shell. When first Muslims of Medina walked toward Badr or were shaken by Ahad, they felt not only the enemy before them, but also unseen armies beside them and promised paradise ahead. But if belief stayed only mental, it would be philosophy. Allah seals this abstract belief with clear action, and they establish the prayer. Not, they pray, they establish the prayer. This means raising it like a structure, placing it at life's center. Prayer is the bridge between unseen and visible. A person who believes in the unseen stands before that presence 5 times daily. Before finishing this verse, let us return to Alif Lam Mim. What did Islamic scholars say? Great figures like Ibn Arabi and Imam Rabbani spoke about them. There are over 20 interpretations, gathering around a few main approaches. First view. The true meaning is known only to Allah. This has been strong since the companions' time. Second view. These letters point to the Quran's miraculous nature. With these ordinary letters used daily by Arabs, the Quran declares, "This Quran is made from the same letters you use. If you are able, produce a book like it." A direct challenge that still stands. Third approach. These letters carry symbolic meanings. Some connected Aleph to Allah's oneness, Lam to divine address, Mim to creation. Some said final Mim points to Muhammad. These are Tasawwuf spiritual readings. Fourth view. These letters are names or markers of surahs. Fifth view. Reading letters one by one is not normal speech. This alone shows the Quran is not ordinary text. Why exactly 14 letters? The Arabic alphabet has 28 letters. The disconnected letters are exactly half. Many scholars say this points to balance and measure. The Quran shows even half the alphabet is enough to produce a miracle. These 14 letters cover most sound points in Arabic: throat, tongue, lips. The Quran uses all possibilities of human voice, yet makes it impossible to produce anything like it. Most surahs with these letters also speak about faith, revelation, the book, the unseen, where what is the Quran is central. They break the listener's habit, gathering attention. Ibn Arabi connects letters to existence's essence, but warns. He doesn't say, "This is the meaning." He says, "It can also be seen like this." He makes symbolic readings without claiming absolute interpretation, and they spend from what we have provided for them. In Medina's date gardens, the wind shook not only leaves, but the idea of ownership. This wasn't simple charity, it was a deep shift in understanding existence. Not yours, entrusted to you. The subtle detail cuts through ownership desire, what we have provided. A person wants full control over what they earned, saying, "This is mine, I worked for it." But Revelation reminds, the one who gives strength, makes earth grow, gives intelligence, brings wealth into your hands is Allah. You are only a distributor. Medina had to feel this deeply. Ahead were Badr, Uhud, Kondak. The city must be defended, the army equipped, the hungry fed. If my wealth cried out, society would collapse. Yunfikin means to open a passage, let something flow. The believer is meant to be a channel, not a dam. Still water becomes dirty. Flowing water gives life. Giving is the most concrete test of belief in the unseen. A person who claims to believe in an unseen creator yet refuses to give from visible wealth exposes that claim's weakness. After Allah establishes the servant's connection with himself through prayer, the vertical bond, he seals connection with society through giving, the horizontal bond. Verse 4, "And they believe in what has been sent down to you, and in what has been sent down before you, and in the hereafter they are certain." On that cool, star-filled night in Medina, the voice rising from Masjid an-Nabawi was not speaking only to Arabia. It was embracing entire ancient memory of humanity. While shaping this new community's identity, Allah didn't make them rootless. He connected them to the most noble chain in human history. They believe in what was revealed before and what is being revealed now. This had strong effect on Medina's social fabric. On one side, people of the book, proud of Torah and gospel. On the other, Muslims could have become a group focused only on what was revealed to them. But the Quran didn't allow this narrow view. When defining the believer, the Quran demanded deep intellectual and spiritual openness. A Muslim couldn't limit faith only to what was revealed to Muhammad. A Muslim had to believe in the coolness of fire for Ibrahim, the staff of Musa that split the sea, the breath of Isa that gave life. This was clear declaration. Islam is not a new religion. It's the final link of eternal truth. This awareness lifted the Muslim out of narrow tribal thinking, making them heir to universal history. A believer in Medina could feel themselves in Noah's ship, in Yusuf's well, in Suleiman's greatness. The Quran shattered the Abra's claim that truth belonged only to their hands. Allah reminded, all revelation comes from the same source, the same teacher, Allah. The condition, believing in what was sent down before you, gave Muslims deep respect and inclusiveness. It became spiritual foundation of the famous constitution of Medina later formed, with Jews and Christians. From today's perspective, this verse carries strong message for brothers and sisters living in non-Muslim countries, sharing daily life with Jewish and Christian communities. It opens doors of tolerance and dialogue wide. Our source is the same. Distortions happen throughout history, but return to essence is a promise made by Allah that we must keep communication alive and see our roots as close. We should meet on shared values and work together for world peace, building an alliance of civilizations, not a clash. Against external threats, we can stand together. This happened in history and can happen again based on verses and hadiths. Allah is not calling Islamic civilization to war with Christian and Jewish civilizations, but to peace and harmony, built on agreeing upon basic universal human rights and freedoms, reaching a balanced model like Medina's. This wide historical vision had a tie to one final point, and in the hereafter they are certain. The word believe is replaced with something stronger. They know with certainty, without doubt. The hereafter is not theory or philosophical possibility. For the believer, the hereafter is more real than ground under their feet and air they breathe. This was the secret behind how that small group in Medina could challenge the world's great empires. A person certain at the level of yakin that they will die and be held accountable cannot be bought with gold nor frightened by death. Verse 5. Those are upon guidance from their Lord, and those are the ones who are successful. On that misty morning in Medina, just before dawn, verses echoing in Masjid an-Nabawi made the crossroads clear. After listing those 5 unshakable qualities, Allah announced the result. Every word rose like a victory anthem. In Arabic, Allah means being on top of something, standing firmly on a mount. Allah doesn't simply say they are guided. Their guidance is like a strong ride beneath them. The storms of life, the sound of swords at battle, or temptations of Medina's markets cannot throw them off. This guidance comes from Rabbiim, their Lord. This whispers belonging and protection. They are not abandoned. With every step, they are under care of the universe's owner. The word comes from Falaha, a farmer breaking soil. Think of a seed under dark earth, crushed by heavy weight. But with life inside, the seed breaks its shell, splits the soil, reaches the light. That is success, that a person crushed under the world's weight, the ego's chains, Satan's whispers. When they hold these 5 qualities, they rise like that seed. They break their chains and reach the highest level of existence, freedom and lasting success. But the brighter the light, the deeper the shadow. The rhythm suddenly changes. The atmosphere becomes heavy. Words turn into a warning cry. From guidance's bright face, we hit deep darkness, the walls of denial. There were signs in Torah and gospel about the prophet's coming, but people didn't want to see. Some didn't see because they didn't read. Some didn't see because they didn't understand. Some saw but refused to accept. Some Jewish scholars of Medina recognized the prophet. His qualities were written in their books. But most denied him. Why? He is not Jewish. He is Arab. How can he be a prophet? Allah says in the Qur'an, they recognize him as they recognize their own children, yet some knowingly hide the truth. What a powerful expression. When they saw the prophet, they said among themselves, this is him, but in public denied him. Why? Pride, jealousy, worldly benefit. If we accept him, what happens to our position? But some are different. Abdullah ibn Salam, one of Medina's greatest rabbis, went to see the prophet when he arrived. He said, when I looked at him, I knew this was not the face of a liar. And he became Muslim. What does this mean today? A Muslim loves Musa, loves Ibrahim, loves Isa, loves all prophets. A Muslim doesn't say my prophet is the best. A Muslim says all prophets are messengers of Allah. I respect all of them that a Jew honors Musa, rejects Isa, denies Muhammad. A Christian honors Isa, accepts Musa but doesn't fully follow him, denies Muhammad. A Muslim believes in all of them, loves all of them, accepts all of them. Allah's invitation is still open. Come to a common word. Verse 6. Indeed, for those who insist on denial, it makes no difference whether you warn them or not. They will not believe. This verse opens the curtain on a tragedy. The people mentioned are not those who never heard the truth. They are those who saw it, heard it, understood it, then covered it on purpose. The word kafir comes from a root also used for a farmer who covers a seed with soil. The truth is like the sun standing high in the sky. But this is stubbornness of a man who closes his eyes and says there is no sun. At first glance, this sounds harsh, but it carries deep wisdom. A kafir is someone who hides the truth, someone who sees Allah's signs but chooses to ignore them, someone who covers the natural purity, fitra, inside their heart. The Prophet said, every child is born upon fitra. Then their parents make them Jewish, Christian, or otherwise. So faith is the original state. Denial is a cover that comes later. But notice which disbelievers is Allah talking about. Not all disbelievers, a specific group that reached a point of no return. Only Allah truly knows who they are. Verse 7. Allah has sealed their hearts and their hearing, and over their eyes is a covering, and for them is great punishment. Imagine a city whose gates are locked from inside, then heavy seals placed from outside. No light can enter, no sound can pass. This is not cruel action from Allah. It's the natural result of a person's own choices. A heart that ignores thousands of warnings, calls every miracle magic, silences its conscience again and again, eventually loses its softness. It hardens. It turns to stone. Allah seals their hearts and hearing, places a veil over their eyes. They become so blind they cannot see they're standing at a cliff's edge. Living in Medina, in Revelation's very center, still walking with this seal. Could there be greater tragedy? For this group, warning them or not makes no difference. Why? Because they already decided. They sealed their own hearts. This is not injustice from Allah. This is the result of their own choice. The line between light and darkness is now clearly drawn. But in Medina, there was a third group, neither fully in light nor fully in darkness. They were hiding in shadows. The hypocrites, munafiqun. For believers, 5 verses were revealed. For disbelievers, 2 verses. But for this masked group, a shocking analysis stretching over 13 verses began. Verse 8. And among the people there are those who say, we believe in Allah and in the day of judgment, and they're not believers. Imagine Medina's marketplace. A man stands in prayer's front row. His voice may be louder than everyone's, but his eyes keep scanning the crowd, and his heart works like a calculator. Is it profitable to stay with this group? What if Mecca's people win? What if Muhammad loses? These people didn't see faith as surrender. They saw it as an insurance policy. They built a fortress with words, but never stepped inside. Allah destroyed this false claim with a single strike. They're not believers. This was divine exposure. The mask fell with the very first sentence. Verse 9. They try to deceive Allah and those who believe, but they deceive only themselves, and they do not realize it. Now the scene truly darkens. The Qur'an described believers briefly, described disbelievers even more briefly. But when it comes to this third group, it stops, slows down, goes into detail. Why? Because this group is the most dangerous. They're not clearly outside. They're not standing at the door. They appear to be inside. When the first verse describing them was revealed, it was as if ice fell over Medina, because these are not polytheists, not Jews or Christians. These were people who said they were Muslims. But the Quran makes clear, it doesn't look at words, it looks at the heart. Try to deceive Allah is as absurd as trying to hide the ocean with a glass. But the real tragedy, they were only deceiving themselves, trapped inside their own lies, falling into traps they had set. They didn't even realize it. Like a cancer cell destroying the body they lived in while destroying their own source of life, in their hearts is a disease, and Allah increased this disease. Every lie gives birth to another lie. Every fake position makes the heart darker. In Medina's tense atmosphere, the hypocrites' leader Abdullah ibn Ubay's whispers echoed in dark corners. A painful punishment was prepared for them. Why? Not only because they didn't believe, but because they lied. Abdullah ibn Ubay's plan failed. He didn't become king, didn't gain power. So what did he do? He couldn't openly oppose Muslims because most people had become Muslim. So he chose another way, said he was Muslim, but inside kept his hatred alive. This is hypocrisy's root: loss of status, loss of power, loss of personal benefit. He comes to the mosque, says, Alhamdulillah, I am Muslim, prays, fasts, give charity sometimes. But why? For Allah? No, for show, so people won't suspect him. The Qur'an says about hypocrites, when they stand for prayer, they stand lazily. They show themselves to people and remember Allah very little. So they pray, but how? Without desire, without heart, out of obligation. Why? For Allah? No, so people will see them. Verse 13. When they are told, believe as the believers have believed, they say, shall we believe like these foolish people? No, well, they are the foolish ones, but they do not know it. In hypocrites' eyes, Abu Bakr's loyalty, Bilal's resistance, Ammar's surrender were examples of stupidity. To them, leaving property in Mecca and migrating to Medina was not logical. They thought, why risk everything? Why cut ties with the powerful Quraysh? They called their selfish thinking reason and called faith that pays a price foolishness. Allah crushed this pride with one sentence. Know well, the foolish ones are themselves, but they do not know. True reason is not what saves only today. It's what builds eternity. Who is wiser? The one who sees the ship sinking but stays in the luxury cabin, or the one who jumps into the lifeboat despite the storm? By choosing temporary over lasting, hypocrites made one of history's greatest mistakes. Verse 14. When they meet the believers, they say, we believe, but when they're alone with their devils, they say, we are with you. We are only mocking them. In the mosque, they shake believers' hands saying, we are with you. But their real stage is at night, in hidden corners of Medina or inside tribal fortresses, where they speak very differently. The hypocrite is a spiritual refugee trying to benefit from both sides, but belonging to neither. Allah's response to their mockery is shocking. Allah mocks them. What have they done? Allah explains with powerful trade image. They're the ones who bought misguidance in exchange for guidance. They had guidance as capital, but chose the worst product, misguidance. The result, their trade did not profit. From Medina's merchants, this image was very clear. These people were bankrupt traders who lost not only their faith, but also their peace and their future. Then the Qur'an draws a cinematic scene. A man lights a fire in darkness, the light of faith. Everything becomes visible. Just as he's about to warm himself and see the path, Allah takes away the light and leaves him in deep darkness. They are deaf, mute, and blind. They will not return. Then comes a second scene. Heavy rain pouring down, lightning flashing in the sky, thunder shaking bones. The hypocrite, afraid of death, puts his fingers in his ears. Each time lightning flashes, a truth appears through revelation. He takes a few steps. When darkness returns, he freezes in place. In Medina, lightning was flashing. Revelation was exposing real faces behind masks. The hypocrites were afraid. The believers were walking towards certainty. But Allah's address would not stop here. After all this analysis, a great call to all humanity would come. Worship your Lord who created you. This is where our journey through Surah Al-Baqarah's opening pauses. The foundation has been laid. Three groups clearly defined. The believers walking in light, the deniers sealed in darkness, and the hypocrites trapped between both worlds. Surah Al-Baqarah is central to Islam, carrying the complete code of how to build a society on truth, how to recognize enemies within and without, and how to hold firm to guidance when the world tries to pull you away. This is the surah that shakes the heavens and earth, that drives devils from homes, that gives hope to all who fear the grave. This is the door between Asr and Maghrib, and these verses are the key.